Okay guys, how's it going? I decided to do the deck recipe now because, well, in the next duel I'm going to be doing, I don't think I'll be able to explain it as well, especially if I don't draw what I need. This deck is very unpredictable with what you draw, but it's usually really good though. Other than the fact that the sarcophagus kinda slow it down a little bit, but they're still here. I decided to make the deck, and yeah. One thing to note is I named the deck Skull of the Pharaoh, but it doesn't fit on this, so yeah. Anyways, let's get into the deck and we'll talk about my thoughts and whatever later on. So first off, we have 3 Skull Servant. It basically is a normal level 1. You need at least a level 1 or level 2 zombie monster. That's normal, and they have to hit your grave for this deck to go really into it. So yeah, so 3 of them, definitely alright. Doesn't hurt the deck too much, but I'll give you more suggestions later on with the video goes on. Next we have 3 King of Skull Servant, the main beat stick of the deck if you bother getting him out. Basically he gains 1,000 for every Skull Servant, or yeah, he gains 1,000 for each Skull Servant and King of Skull Servant monster in your graveyard. And if he's destroyed by battle by removing one other King Skull Servant or Skull Servant from your grave, you can special summon him again. Pretty good. Some good cards you can use with this is like Infernal Reckless Summon and whatever. And well, I'll go over that when we get into the side deck. Next we have 2 Mezuki, brings back a zombie, simple as that. 2 Plaguespreader. Basically synchros, really good at 2, so I would recommend it. And if you return a card from the hand to the top of the deck, you can bring him back from the grave, but banish him after he leaves the field. 3 Pyramid Zombie Turtle. He basically searches out the whole deck as long as the zombies have 2,000 or less defense. 2 Spirit of the Pharaoh. Running 3 is definitely not a good idea due to the fact that, well, 1, we're only running 2 of each of the second and third sarcophagus, and second, he's just a dead draw if you draw into him. So yeah. So this is my main card that I'm trying to go for to do some stuff. But anyways, his effect is he can't be normal summoned or set. He cannot be special summoned except by the First Sarcophagus. And when he is special summoned, you get to special summon up to 4 level 2 or lower zombie types that are normal monsters. Now, we'll go into more detail about that later on in the deck, but basically you bring him back, you can go for synchros if you want to bring Plague back and you only brought back the 3 Skull Servants, and you can change them for Crass Clowns and make this a whole new deck, depends on what you want to do. But, well, not Crass Clown, I was totally wrong. I told you I'll go over it more in depth in a little bit. But basically, you bring back some zombies and you XYZ, synchro, whatever. Simple as that. 2 Lady In Wight. It's a 2,200 defense, really good, set it. It has the effect of face up level 3 or lower zombie types cannot be destroyed by battle, and they're not affected by spells or traps. But, yeah, that doesn't prevent banish, but other than that, I think 2 is fine. I took out another card that works with this deck also, but we'll go over that later on as well. Next is Zombie Master. 2 of them. 3 of them just become dead draws, I think. Next, you can, okay, Zombie Master, you discard, or you send a monster from your hand to the grave, so it doesn't set off Dark Worlds, even though, yeah. Target 1 level 4 or lower zombie monster in your either player's graveyard, special summon that target, and this card has to be face up to activate that effect. So basically I like to dump Mezuki in the grave. I like to dump Plagues in the grave and bring them back. I like to dump Skull Servants. If Pharaoh, the Spirit of the Pharaoh, is needed to be dumped, I can dump him as well. So, yep, 2 of those are really good. Next, we had 2 Book of Lives. Basically, you have to have a zombie type, which is the downside of this card, but you have to have a zombie type monster in your grave. But the plus side is you can banish a card from your monster from your opponent's graveyard. So if they're playing stuff like Gladiator Beast, where they keep bringing stuff back with a trap card, or they're playing Dolces, Crystal Beast, pretty much don't like this card either. That's alright to them. Other zombie players don't like it. Dragons don't actually mind this card too much. But it is a good thing if you hit their red eyes, so they can't ever bring it back, I guess. Affinities don't like this card. I could go on, but basically anything that relies on grave don't like this card. And you special summon any zombie from your grave that you targeted first, of course, whatever. Basically like Monster Reborn, but banish a monster from your opponent's graveyard, and it has to be a zombie. Burial from a different dimension opens up more plays and puts stuff from your banished zone to the graveyard. 1 Dark Hole destroys monsters. MST destroys back row. 1 Day of Peace. Draw 1. No one takes damage till the end of your opponent's turn. Reveal 2 Pod Duality. You reveal 3 and add 1 to your hand. You cannot special summon, and you cannot activate 2 Pod Dualities in 1 turn. Next is Second Sarcophagus, and this becomes a problem sometimes if it's in your hand. Not all the time, but it can. Because you can't place this on the field, you can't set or activate it until the first one is activates to activate this card, so you can imagine why people don't run this deck. Or run the Spirit of the Pharaoh deck. Next off we have the Third Sarcophagus, same thing as the second, not too much to say. Bottomless helps out, banishes, destroys, then banish. So you cannot use this on Stardust because it'll negate it, so anyone that didn't know that already, be far warned about it now. I think. Did they change that though? I'm pretty sure Stardust can negate this still. I'm not sure if that was a priority thing that Stardust would get its effect, but I'm pretty sure Stardust still negates it though. Compulsory is really a really good card. 2 Mirror Force. Compulsory bounces a monster back. 2 Mirror Forces destroy all your opponent's monsters. Solemn Warning, you pay 2,000 life points to negate the summon of a card. If it's spell, trap, or by a monster effect, then you can negate it. You negate summon and destroy the card first. Then we have 3 of the First Sarcophagus. Now, this one is a little tough to play. I wouldn't play it right away as soon as you get it, due to the fact that you might want to play strategically. Due to the fact that Spirit of the Pharaoh brings back normal monsters from the grave, you might want to keep in mind that you might want to get Skull Servants in the grave before actually activating this. Or if you know you can get them in the grave before this fully resolves, then by all means go ahead. But other than that, let's actually go into what the card does. So during each of your opponent's end phases, you can you have to place a card on the field in this order. This card confused me a lot. Oh, another thing to point, you cannot get the Spirit of the Pharaoh from the grave. You have to get it from hand or deck. So if it hits your grave and you send both of them to the grave, you're screwed. you just activate these cards for no reason. So yeah, same thing if you put the Sarcophagus cards in the grave. You cannot get them. They have to be in your hand or deck. So anyways, so it would go into second. I recommend getting the ones from the deck. Unless if you're going for, like I did in the video, Void Ogre, then go for the one in the hand. But anyways, so I recommend that you go for the ones in the deck. So yeah, if one Sarcophagus is removed from your side of the field, all of them go. So basically it's like Destiny board, but Destiny board is a little better due to the fact that it, well, wins the game. When you have all three Sarcophagus cards on your side of the field, you have to send all the Sarcophagus cards on your side of the field to the grave, and special summon one Spirit of the Pharaoh to your hand. Now, there's 3 of them because the deck runs really better if you have 3 of them. I took one out for a Call of the Haunted one time. I didn't like it. It really didn't suit me. I didn't draw into the card when I needed it. And yeah, I could have done so many plays, so I always play this at 3. The other 2 I would recommend too, because if you play all 3 of these cards at 3, you'll end up dead drawing them, and you'll lose. 2 of them is enough because you can bring out Spirit of the Pharaoh 2 times. And yeah, this is by far one of the tougher decks to make, but it is really fun to use and does a lot of things that, you know, does a lot of fun things. I mean, I wanted to make a less themed based deck. I want to make a more fun based deck since I did like a bunch of themed based stuff anyways. So yeah, this is definitely more fun to run than Fire Fist. I mean, I understand that Fire Fist is really good, but I just don't like to run it too much. It doesn't seem fun. I just put stuff in the back row or whatever, and I just feel like I'm in a competitive state. At least this one, I have like more options. I mean, I could synchro up, I could XYZ, you know, it lets me have more free things. So basically what I'm saying is I like those decks that give you more options than just, oh, well, make a rank 4 or something. I don't know. That's just my opinion, guys. Don't get mad if you run Fire Fist. I have no offense to Fire Fist. So anyways, as I said, let's go into other things about Spirit of the Pharaoh, since we actually, well, let me go into synchros real quick. We have Catastor, Black Rose, Crimson. Actually, let me show you facts. Catastor, Black Rose, Crimson. This one's a new one that I like to use now. Pretty good, but the only bad thing about it is you have to banish it, so yeah. Mistworm, you'll be making this like most of the time when you bring it out, so yeah, definitely have one of these. It really helps. This is pretty good because of zombies. Scrap Dragon, really fun. Stardust, negate stuff. Void Ogre. This might be the thing you might go into more than Stardust. Lately, I haven't seen anyone really go for a Stardust due to the fact that, well, Void Ogre has 3000 attack, you got 2500. Scrap Dragon could destroy cards, you could just negate destruction. And the opponent's back row is usually never anything too good anyways. So, I mean, Stardust just gets thrown in the trash. I mean, what would you like me to really say? Someone can make a Gemnite Pearl and just run over it too, so I don't know. Stardust is kind of becoming a not useful card ever since Heavy Storm is banned as well. So, yeah. But it does work with Starlight Road, and it's good if you do it that way too. But I just wanted to point out something about Stardust. I mean, also Red Dragon is pretty good too. But in my opinion, Stardust does a lot better. This card does a little better than Red Dragon. So does this. And another thing about Red Dragon is that if your deck gets stalled, which it mostly will, with like Zen mains out or whatever, because you don't want to attack it, then your cards are just going to get blown up. So yeah, that's when you make a Stardust, but you know, it's really tough to call if you throw in a Red Dragon or not. But you know, Stardust and Red Dragon kind of losing their thing. If Red Nova was in here, then Red Dragon would probably never see play. Just saying. Gaga Cowboy to end games. The Ball Chain basically helps you through the deck a lot. If you're running zombies, make sure you run 2 of these. Just saying, it helps. 1 Lionheart. This one is something I'll go over. If you take any battle damage, or no, hold on. This card, when it's face up in attack, cannot be destroyed with battle. Any battle damage you take, also your opponent would take, due to the equal number of damage. Also, if this card battles the opponent's monster during damage calculation either player's turn, you can detach 1 XYZ from this card. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from that battle. Yeah, okay, I think I went over it. You barely make these 2, but I really like their effects compared to the other rank ones. So, yeah. But it's your choice. You can run our Slacker and take out like Galaxy Queen or something. Once per turn, you can detach 1 XYZ from this card until the opponent's next end phase. The monsters you currently control cannot be destroyed by battle, and if they attack a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. So yeah, I actually really enjoy this effect. It's not really that great, but you know, it's still a thing. Piercing damage, and you can't be destroyed by battle. I thought it was card effects too, but whatever. Battle will still do more than enough. And Slacker Magician, basically it's like Zen mains, where if it's basically going to get destroyed, you could detach 1. Once per turn you can't be destroyed with battle, so you can like double attack it. Oh wait, if targets this card, negate. Oh, okay, right. Well, there's the effect. You guys can read it. Alright, let's go over Spirit of the Pharaoh. That's pretty much it for the deck, if you guys are wondering, but I wanted to go over more things for Spirit of the Pharaoh, so if you stick around, thanks. But if you guys just want to leave it there, then I mean, I'll catch you guys later. So, for the people that sticked around for Spirit of the Pharaoh, other recommendations of the deck was to use Clown Zombie. Since it is a level 2, and basically you can bring yourself, or you bring out 3 of them. They are the highest level 2 or lower zombie monsters that are normal. Also, other decks recommended Pharaoh's Servant and Pharaonic Protector because, well, they're pretty good too. Also, another thing you can do is Box of Friends them, because they both have 0 defense. So that's a pretty good thing if you want to do like rank 2s with zombies. So yeah, these are pretty much like your rank 2s if you want to do like level 2s if you want to do the rank 2 thing. So yeah, you would run 3 Crass, 2 Pharaoh, and 2 Pharaonic. And also you would run Mystic Tomato at 3, Giant Rat at 2, you know. Just so you can search them out and put them in the grave and whatever, if you're curious on other options you had. Other options also come into the fact that, let me get the card real quick. I know I should have got this earlier, but I wanted to show you guys that. Okay, there we go. So now that I talked about Clown Zombie, whatever, some people might ask, well, what if I change the graveyard to zombies? It totally works. I looked up the rulings, it works. So if you want to use stuff that is, they say like Atlantean Pike or something, or like tuners that are level 2s, but like they're normals, perfectly fine with this because they count towards this if you use Zombie World. So yeah, it's not originally printed, so as long as there's something making him zombie in the grave. Zombie world makes it work, and you can bring him back with Pharaoh's Servant. So if you're not a fan of using these cards, then by all means you can go into your search bar here, filter, card frame, go to normal, search, this, search, filter, and then go to level, and then you go 1, 2, and there you go. All these are open for things. Mostly people are going to go for tuners due to the fact that, well, tuners are really good. And if you wanted to find a tuner, I would say do that. I don't know if there is tuners actually. Yeah, Flamvell Guard and Water Spirit are your choices there. So yeah, there's a lot of choices, a lot of ways you can make the deck, but you know, that's why I like this deck a little bit more too. And it's a little thing that people haven't ran. Also, well, that's enough of me telling you about that. So, what do you do after you get those cards out? Well, one, this card powers up all level 1, so if you're planning on using level 1s, like Skull Servants, use Triangle Power, it gives them 2000 more boost. But I don't use it because I don't really need it. I'm using a Synchro variant, so I don't need them to win. For level 2 based people, you would be going with 1000 energy, gives you 1000 more attack points, but still really good. Keep in mind that both of these cards destroy level 1s and 2s, so yeah, you can't use tokens. And yeah, you make sure you XYZ at the end of your turn if you do not finish something. And if you are doing level 2 or lowers, this is also another good thing, because you can get rid of your card and you can bring out 5 or you can just get rid of Spirit of the Pharaoh and then summon out like another level 2 or lower normal. It's gonna be rare that you do though, but this was also recommended in the wiki. So yeah, so when 5 face up level 2 or lower normal monsters are inside field, you can only activate it if that's the case. Both players discard all cards in their hand, so that removes the threats of Trag and Gores, and Fader and Swift Scarecrow, and destroy all cards on the field except level 2 or lower. So basically it clears the field and wins you the duel, basically. Because you would go 1000 energy, maybe you do Triangle Power, then you do Law of the Normal, and then you basically win. Many things you could do that. Pretty much that's it for Spirit of the Pharaoh. And Call of the Haunted is the only side deck I would recommend of this deck. If you're using my variant, which is basically the Skull Servant variant, if you haven't figured it out already. Other things to note. If you want to, you can remove the whole Second Sarcophagus thing, First Sarcophagus, Spirit of the Pharaoh, whatever. So, if you were to do that, I would recommend using Light Sworn in there. Raiko and Lila are really good, it helps you mill out the deck. You can do what I did with Relinquished and basically mill them out that way too with this. Other stuff that involves Skull Servants as well, since some people might ask. The one thing I didn't add that you guys could add, I wish the there we go. Anyways, other thing I could have added was let's see, this one, Whitemare. I decided not to add it because I wasn't really getting Skull Servant out too much, other than the fact that I would get like, let's say, one of them along with this, then I would drop a Plague and make a missed one. Pretty much that's the only plays I've seen Skull Servant make, other than like one-time Slacker Magician. So yeah, Whitemare is there if you want to change them out for anything as well. You could put them in there for the 3 First Sarcophagus, whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck recipe. I pretty much give the deck a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 6 or 7. 6.5. Let's go with that. Due to the fact that you draw into Spirit of the Pharaoh and the Sarcophagus, and your deck pretty much like is saying no, you don't get to play. But on the plus side, this deck is so good with its resources that you can pull out like 3 level 8s and the Roller Hadis or whatever. Oh, another thing to point out real quick before I end. You want to go, if you go for a level 6, go for a Revived, because after all your plays, you can go Malicious or Mezuki and bring back Revived King Hadis. Just so you know. So basically, you'll have like 8,000 attack if you play this right. Really good deck. I really like it. Due to the fact that drawing the Sarcophagus can slow down your deck, I can't give it any higher than a 7. So yeah, but it does OTK, if you guys were curious. It can. You just need to draw, just stall out until you draw what you need. Or even if you wanted to, you could beat down people with Spirit of the Pharaoh. And even if you want to, you can make rank 6s if you want to, but I don't recommend it. It's not too great. If you're doing synchros and you're doing a heavy synchro deck, just stick with synchros, because really making XYZs and synchros is kind of weird. In my opinion. Don't blame me. So go ahead and leave your comments in the section down below. How do you think I did the deck? Do you think I did good? Did you think I did bad? What would you take out? What would you put in? What would you change? You know, all the good stuff. Yeah, and definitely Nordics is up next after this. I promise you guys. I mean, I'll start on the episode after this, but you know, just so you guys know, I really want to put this out because I thought it was an interesting, unique deck that I don't really see. No one hasn't bothered touching it. No one wants to touch it, but I touched it and pretty much I enjoy it. So without further ado, I will catch you guys later. Deck recipe in the comment section or in the description. See you guys.